this is Arrow. We're unplugged and totally uncut with author Kevin Darne. His book is called My Cats Won't Bark.
Hi, this is Kevin Darne. Arrow
That
Collins?
would be me. Isn't that kind of weird, one of those names? What the heck is an Arrow Collins? Actually, you're the person I should be asking that because you're the one that knows how to get inside people's minds.
Not exactly. They have to be open.
Is that really the secret, that person has to be open for that?
Right. I mean, we control our own thoughts, so
now,
you have to be open.
I never thought about going down this angle, but I got to ask you, Kevin, if we're controlling our own thoughts, then why are we such quitters in this modern-day society? What's going on?
A lot of us don't take the time to do the introspective thinking to figure out what it is that we truly want, so we tend to just go with the flow and be surprised.
You've got a book out right now called My Cat Won't Bark. First of all, that's got to win an award because that is the best title I've ever heard in my... That's almost like REO Speedwagon. You can't tune a fish, but you can piano... Or you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. Where did you come up with that title, Kevin?
Well, actually, it's a play on the fact that cats aren't supposed to bark, and very often people enter into relationships expecting their mate to change or become something who they're not. Mm-hmm. And My Cat Won't Bark is essentially about learning to approach relationships with realistic expectations.
Now, when you say that your book is about selecting the right mate, does that not also count for selecting the right coworkers and selecting the situation so that we can? Because even the workplace these days is not built on relationship. But you know what? I'll bet you if we were coached by a book like yours, we could have better relationships at work with our coworkers.
It's possible. The only problem with the coworker situation is, generally speaking, you have very little say on who the company hires. Mm-hmm. Whereas in our personal relationships, you get to decide who you're going to kiss and make out with or spend time with.
But with the internet, the way, and I just saw this report just the other day where they're saying that online dating is leading to a lot more marriages today. Is that part of the choices that you're talking about?
Absolutely. I think online dating actually gives you the power instead of just waiting for fate to pop into your life. And that's generally, we've been conditioned that love is supposed to be magic and just fall out of the sky. You bumped into her and one thing led to another. And online dating allows you to kind of create a plan and shop around for exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, because the divorce rate in this country stands at 52%. So if we took the time to I guess, shop around or to realize that your cat doesn't bark, do you think that these numbers are going to start coming down, Kevin?
Yeah, I think the number one reason for divorce, in my opinion, has always been selecting the wrong mate. Mm-hmm. And that happens for a variety of reasons. Either we don't know ourselves well enough to be out there choosing somebody, or we tend to get married for the wrong reasons. Sometimes it's an arbitrary age that you had in mind, or circumstances, an unplanned pregnancy. All my friends got married. And so there are various other reasons why the divorce rate is high. But another major contributing factor, and it can't be overlooked, is there's been a lot of progress with women as far as income and career opportunities, and they don't have to take the same amount of crap that their grandmother took.
Isn't that the truth? Because I do weddings and stuff. I perform with sharing vows, and what happens is that when grandparents do talk, what they do is that they will sit there and say, well, we learned to get along. And I wonder if we have the patience, even at 51, do we have the patience to basically get along anymore?
I think there's two schools of thoughts. One is we're just going to stay together no matter how unhappy we are. Mm-hmm. And the other is life is short and I deserve to be with someone who wants the same things that I do.
But boy, what a mistake you can make when you realize that life is really short and that you've now made 2 or 3 different mistakes. Because I'm meeting people that have been married 3 and 4 different times.
Right. And some people learn slower than others.
Now, Cloris Leachman says, Kevin, that those are just chapters in her book, all those marriages. Do you think we should all be writing a book? Or, I mean, what is the self-empowerment that you talk about to where maybe we can slow down just a bit?
The self-empowerment comes, first of all, I'd say know yourself, love yourself, and trust yourself. Do the introspective thinking to figure out what it is you want and desire in a mate, and then have the self-discipline to stick to your own shopping list, for lack of a better word.
Still back to shopping, though, right? I mean, it's like we're looking for that. But there is no perfect person out there. I mean, man, I can't imagine if somebody were to say, well, Arrow's the guy that I want to meet. Man, nope, you don't, because I drive too fast. You're just not going to like the way I drive.
Yeah, the goal is to find somebody who shares your same values, wants the same things that you do, and naturally agrees with you on how to obtain those things. And like you say, you're not going to agree on everything, but it's important to agree on the important things.
Now, why do you think that there seems to be a lot of marriages that are happening nowadays where the guy is younger than the woman, and then if it's the woman, like my wife is 9 years older than me. Mm-hmm. Why is that happening a lot in today's society?
Yeah, I think our generation, first of all, baby boomers especially, we refuse to get old. So we're out there still in the gym trying to look good and stay youthful.
But we do look good.
That's true. There's a big difference between a 50-year-old today and, say, 100 years ago, a 50-year-old person was a little bit more matronly, or they kind of just gracefully got old, where we're fighting it every step of the way. And so an older woman can still seem very attractive to a younger guy today.
Mm-hmm. Now, I noticed that you're up there in Chicago, and being from the Midwest part of the country, do you think love is a little bit different in the colder regions compared to down here in the South, where it seems like people are a little bit more? I'm gonna bring religion into the picture. It's a little bit more of a spiritual journey down here in the South.
That's a nice way of putting it. Yeah, I think different regions also approach relationships differently. There's different expectations. Some people might even say marriages in the South might last longer than, say, in L.A. or New York or Chicago.
Well, you don't want to upset a Southern woman. They just give you the look. I mean,
that's all it takes.
It's like, okay, I'm back. Okay, we're going shopping right now. Your book, I love the title. Once again, it's called My Cat Won't Bark. I love the fact that you have dedicated your life to relationship. Whereabouts in your personal life did you decide that, hey, look, God's calling me to do this book? What's going on?
Well, several years ago, I was writing blogs and articles on like Yahoo Shine, Hub Pages, and Examiner.com, where I'm a Chicago dating advice examiner. And periodically, people would email me and say, hey, they ask me some questions, and I'll respond to them, and then others would say, you should write a book. And so I decided, well, let me go ahead and write a book.
But I'm an author, so I know what it means when it says go ahead and write a book. Now, I mean, writing a book is what readers don't understand is that it's a major chunk of your life. How much of yourself have you put in this book?
I put quite a bit of myself, because the actual whole title of the book is My Cat Won't Bark, A Relationship Epiphany, and it talks about in the various chapters things that I learned or observed that are, I call them myths, for lack of a better word, where they just really don't jive with what we were taught to expect.
Is there one thing that you've done as a normal human being, and we all do make mistakes, is there something that has stood out that is actually, I always say that when you write a book, you're going to touch lives of people that you've never met. What one thing have you done in your life that you didn't realize that you were going to spin somebody's life around?
I think what happens is, like, I'll read some reviews. People post reviews on Amazon or whatever. I had one lady, she wrote, and she said she's always trying to find ways to improve her life, and then when she read this book, it had everything that she had been looking for. Another lady said that she gave it to her therapist. But in both instances, people told me that they felt like I was actually in the room speaking with them. And that really made me feel touched, because I'm thinking, well, that means the book is a personal experience.
Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna ask the professional side of you now. I believe that in all the weddings that I've participated with, 20 years of weddings, because I'm in the wedding business, that the romance of the ceremony is gone. Do you think that's happening, and do you think that controls day 2 of, oh, my God, we just got hitched?
I think it's happening. Yeah, I have to say I think it's happening in a lot of instances, especially naturally for second and third marriages. First marriages, and if people are young, they still do have a little bit of the fairy tale belief and expectation of the first wedding.
Do you think that the headhunters right now are stronger women, or do you think men are still the ones that are out there playing the clubs and all that kind of stuff? Who's playing the field more?
I think it's starting to level off where there's a little more equality in that arena. As I said, times have really changed for women. I mean, even going back to the 60s where we had the free love and sexual revolution, better birth control methods, better career opportunities, higher pay. Some women have reached the conclusion that I really don't need a man. I can go out and have a child, on my own, take care of my own self, and I really don't need to get married. So
I actually believe that if you admit that you're a real butt, people understand that. Is that true?
That's true. Some people like the truth up front.
Has anything that your mother has, while you were growing up, has she or your father appeared within your pages too?
Not really. I mean, I came from an era where your parents kids were to be seen and
not heard. I know that feeling. So because my mom and dad always danced in the kitchen, and
that's nice.
And as a child, I would sit there and look at them, going, "That is the most idiotic thing I've ever seen." But as an adult now, it's like I want what they had. I want to be able to feel that relationship. I can't be the only one who dreams of these kinds of things.
Right. There's a sense of wanting to feel like you're in love the whole time the relationship lasts. I have a chapter in the book called the unrealistic romantic myth, and so many people think it's unrealistic to expect that, especially after you've been together for quite a while. But essentially, I say that it really comes down to making it a priority. I mean, we basically have 3 to-do lists: things I want to do, things I have to do, and things I need to do. And if it's not on those first 2 lists, we tend not to do it.
Do you find that because we're not having dinner at the table anymore, that's kind of messing things up? Because I'm not going to lie to you. I have dinner in front of that TV with the remote control in my right hand. I'm not doomed, am I?
No. Is your wife sitting with you also?
Yeah, and my puppies.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great. It's when you're having dinner in different rooms.
Okay. I never thought of that. That, it's not that you have to sit at the kitchen table. You can actually be sitting there having entertainment while you eat.
Right. I mean, if one person's in the basement, the other one's upstairs, that's a sign that maybe we need to have dinner together.
Now, what is romance in 2013 when it's costing $50 to go to a movie? And if you want to go see an NBA game, and you know how those Bulls games are up there, I mean, you're going to be dropping a bunch of cash, even just to sit up in the nosebleed section.
Yeah, you have to kind of pick your spots. I mean, there are some times where you'll be able to splurge, and then there's other instances where you can look in like the Chicago Tribune, for instance. They'll have events that are either free or low cost. We always have festivals and things like that going on where you can spend some quality time together, go out and have a romantic time. Do
you think people, when they say, "I love you," they mean it? Or do you think it's just 3 words anymore that we throw out just to shut somebody up?
It can be both. It depends under the circumstances. Sometimes it's just out of habit. Or if somebody says, "I love you," and then you feel obligated to say it back.
Saying, man, thanks. I mean, because you know what? And that's, I see a lot more hand-holding in public, but I'm not seeing a lot of the emotional the combining of 2 people into one, meaning that I don't see people being romantic, like the new movie that's come out now with Rachel McAdams, which is called About Time. There is so much romance in that movie, but yet when I go to the mall here in Charlotte, South Park Mall, I'm not seeing where I see 2 people in love.
Yeah, a large part of it is in our culture, we kind of look down on too much PDA. In fact, people will say, get a room. I mean, if they see there's too much kissing in public or...
But if you don't kiss in public, what's the difference? It's like, I always look at things like that as being like an alcoholic or a drug abuser. If you make them stop doing it, then they're going to stop everything. So if you stop somebody from displaying public affection, are you not also saying, well, I'm not going to do it at home either then?
Hey, that's a very good chance that would happen, especially if it's one thing if people around you are saying, hey, I wish you guys wouldn't do that. It's another thing if your own mate is saying, I wish you wouldn't kiss me in public.
Mm-hmm. How much does religion play in the relationship of a couple? And
it really
should
depends
it be there?
Individuals involved. I mean, if one person is religious, naturally they'll be better suited to be with somebody who has similar beliefs. But if neither one has any particular strong religious background, then it probably won't make much difference.
Because, there seems to be a rise in religion these days, and I often wonder if people are being pressured to go seek the word, or if there really is where, it's like, okay, I'm going to find love so that I can see love in your eyes. I'm just trying to understand the relationship side of this country, and that's what I love about your book, and is that you give us that opportunity to where we're talking with somebody who understands that it is a relationship and that we do have the right to make a choice in our lives.
You're right. I think there are some people who also turn to religion, unfortunately. There was a quote that said, did you use God as your steering wheel or your spare tire?
No.
And a lot of times those people are using it as their spare tire. They've had some heartaches or whatever, and they really want to just give up. And I've heard women in particular saying, I'm waiting on God to deliver me a husband. And then I explain to them, I'm saying... that the law of attraction does not replace the law of action. I mean, even if you win the lottery, you still have to buy a ticket. So you still are required to do some things. I mean, God has made 7 billion people already. How many more does he need to make for you?
And where do you think God goes to go find that right person?
Absolutely. I don't think that's how it works. I think you have to use what it's already been instilled in you to go ahead and find the right person for yourself.
Mm-hmm. A relationship epiphany. That's what's in parentheses on your book title. What was the epiphany for you to say, you know what, this is earth moving?
The epiphany actually was several what they call aha moments. Mm-hmm. Here's one quick example. I'd say, if you go to the grocery store to purchase an apple, but you buy an onion instead, whose fault is that? I mean, did you curse the onion for not being an apple? And the answer is no. You learn to become a better shopper. Once I realized that I am the one that selecting who I spend time with, who I date, then it always comes back to me. Even if the relationship fails, I have to examine, okay, why did I say yes to her to begin with? What lessons can I learn from that to move forward?
Which leads to what I read an article recently about. There's a lot of practice marriages going on.
Yeah, and that's the term that a lot of people use for when they get married the second time. They say, my first marriage was my practice marriage.
All that luggage, though. All that luggage. And it's because I'm going to be open with you, okay, Kevin, is that I got married. I got divorced on June 21st, 1993. I was married on July 11th, 1993. But you know what? The second marriage, though, I've been married 20 plus years.
Wow.
So it's like, did I have 12 and a half years of practice, or was it like, man, I'm not going through that again. I just can't. So therefore, I'm going to make this thing work.
Well, I know with myself, when I'm married for the second time as well, mm-hmm. and after the first marriage ended, I stood on the highest mountain and said, I'll never get married again.
And you did.
So not only did I get married again, but I moved from Dana Point, California to Chicago. So.
Can I talk to the writer self? How does your wife deal with you with a pen in your hand? Because, when you escape the real world to become the writer, how did you get lucky enough to find somebody who believes in your art?
Yeah, my wife is always doing other projects on her own, too. So we both encourage each other in our various projects. So she's probably the first person I've been involved with that has been supportive of me in that particular arena.
If you were at Barnes & Noble, would you pick up your book and say, oh, my God, this is exactly, it talks to me?
I believe so. And what I've learned is that they say that the book cover is so important. When I had two cover designs, and I was leaning towards a more conservative cover, and my wife said, no, I wouldn't even pick that book up. I would pick up the one, because I have one where it's a lady and she's holding a dog biscuit over a cat, and naturally the cat's not going to learn to bark. The cat looks confused, and it's some bright colors and so forth. And so we went ahead and did an email blast out to friends, and I got creamed. Everybody chose that cover.
If your cat really could talk, what do you think it would say?
I think it wouldn't have much to say other than feed me.
Feed me, human, human, human. You're always invading my world, dearest human.
Yeah, cats actually seem to be more takers, where dogs look like they want to interact with you a lot and be playful.
That's right. The book is called My Cat Won't Bark, from author Kevin Darne. You are a brilliant, brilliant man for sharing this, because the world does lack love, and John Lennon would love you for giving the opportunity to share this kind of love with people, because there's so many lost people, and there's nobody here to coach us. And I'm so proud of you for taking the time to write such a book, Kevin.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be on your show. People can feel free to look for the book on Amazon or BarnesandNoble.com, or visit my website, LoveAlert911.com.
LoveAlert911.com?
Right.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for your time today, Kevin.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Same to you, sir. Bye-bye.